target.
Oh my god, someone clip it. What's up guys, Razanon here. I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas. Mine was small but super nice, got some good stuff, and I got myself a new microphone, as you can see, and hopefully as you can hear. Today I wanted to finally make this video that I've been planning and working on for quite a long time, which is ranking all of the best assault rifles in the game, and also having a best class setup for each assault rifle. Now, a little caveat is that it's hard to rank them objectively from 1 to 9 because certain assault rifles are going to do really well on certain maps, and they're going to do way worse on other maps. So unlike SMGs, where you're pretty much always going to use an SMG close quarters on a small map, so you can rank them more objectively, in my opinion. With the assault rifles, there are some important caveats that I will go over, so take this ranking with a grain of salt, and when we reach one of those assault rifles that will, for example, do way better on this map than that map, I'll be sure to point that out and explain my reasoning. I've unlocked all the attachments for every primary weapon in the game, obviously including assault rifles, and I've been using all 9 of them quite a bit to really iron out this list, and also to iron out which attachments seem to do best for each gun. So without further ado, let's get into it. And if you wanted to ask me any further questions on any of this stuff, feel free to leave a comment, or additionally pop by my stream. I stream at twitch.tv/Razanon. It's the same name as my YouTube channel. I'm a small, humble streamer, so I'm super interactive with chat because there isn't too much going on. So if you wanted to come ask me a question, say what's up, tell me I'm a dumb piece of then I'd be happy to interact with you, and you'd for sure get a response from me. Link to that's in the description. All right, so starting with number 9, the worst assault rifle, in my opinion, is the Scar. Now, a quick caveat on all of these assault rifles is that I think all the assault rifles in this game are good. Like most Call of Duty's, assault rifles are always going to do well, pretty much no matter what assault rifle you use. So if you're going to use a Scar as opposed to like an EBR, you're going to do way better with the Scar. With that said, it seems to me like the Scar doesn't do anything in particular very well, and it's not even a very well-rounded gun. So there's guns that do more damage, like the Oden, there's guns with less recoil, like the M13 or the Kilo, and there are guns that are just more well-rounded overall, like an AK-47 or an M4. So the Scar isn't bad, it's just not really good at anything. You're never going to find a situation in which a Scar is going to outperform any other assault rifle at any one particular task. So that's why I rank it so low on this tier list. Nonetheless, here are the attachments I'm running. We've got the monolithic suppressor, one of the mid-range barrels. It's not the longest one because the draw speed is so slow if you put on the longest one. And then we've got the tac laser, collapsible stock, stippled grip tape, all to increase that ADS speed. One of the many reasons the Scar is not great and why I rank it as the worst assault rifle in the game is because the draw speed is so slow, but the damage, the recoil pattern, and the fire rate are not good enough to outweigh the slow draw speed. And that's why I don't like this gun. I would love to run the 20-inch barrel for this gun. It would make it a lot better, but in my experience, it just draws too slow when you do that. Number 8, the M13. Now, the M13 is interesting because it feels really good to use. It's got a high fire rate, it's got very little recoil, it's got a fast draw speed. So why is it ranked so low? The damage is trash. the time to kill is really slow, even with that high fire rate, because the damage ranges are just not good. But because it has such a high fire rate and it's so accurate, it's actually not a bad gun at all, especially if you wanted to play on a pretty big map where you're trying to be able to use an automatic weapon, but still have little recoil so that you can really stay on target to people that are even really far away. So to try to negate the low damage and damage range of the M13, we have the Monolithic Suppressor and the Tempest Marksman, which is the longest barrel you can get for the M13. The reason I run Monolithic Suppressor on almost every gun I use is because it gives you the suppression effect where you don't show up on the compass or on the mini-map if the enemy team has UAV when you're firing, and importantly, it also increases your damage range. And then another reason I really like the M13 is it has access to a skeleton stock. Skeleton stock is probably the best stock in this game in my opinion, because it is the only type of stock that will increase your draw speed and it will increase your ADS strafe speed. So you can peek around a corner while aiming down sights and move more quickly when you have a skeleton stock. You don't get that with the no stock attachment, which is also available on the M13, but I would rather have strafe speed to again peek around corners than just general movement speed, because any attachment that gives movement speed does not apply to aim down sight movement speed. That increased speed doesn't translate when you're aiming down the sights. So I run the skeleton stock because I'd rather again have that ADS strafe speed. And then we run stippled grip tape because it again increases that draw speed. The only downside is aiming stability, which is idle sway, which is completely irrelevant on anything that is not a sniper rifle. And we can put in the 60 round mags, which is important for the M13 because it's going to take you a lot of bullets to land to get the kill because of the low damage. And because this gun by default draws really quickly, you can afford to have an attachment like 60 round mags that slows down your draw speed because it isn't that impactful with the M13, which again by default draws really fast. Next up we have the FAMAS. Now this is one of those asterisk caveat kind of assault rifles because it can be like the best assault rifle in the game on certain maps. So for example, if you're playing on Gunrunner, FAMAS is going to be really good for you because enough of those gunfights are going to be close enough to where the one burst kill zone is going to be fairly easy to hit. And because they're not far, you're going to get the one burst kill. So when the FAMAS can get you a kill in one burst, it's insane. The time to kill is super fast. It's deeply satisfying, and people really just don't stand a chance if you're able to one burst them. But the reason it's ranked so low is that one burst range is on upper chest and head. So if people are far away, it's hard to be accurate enough to land that burst in that small window, in addition to the damage fall off. So even if you do land in that critical region, if the target is far away enough, you're still going to have too much damage drop off to get the one burst kill. So on a small map where you can reliably one tap people, this is one of the top 3 assault rifles in the game. But on every other map, if you need to use 2 bursts to get a kill or more, your time to kill goes from insanely fast to insanely slow. And that's the reason that overall I'm ranking it so low. Regardless, the attachments I'm using are the Monolithic Suppressor and the longest barrel possible to squeeze out those one burst kill ranges. And because of those 2 attachments and the FAMAS's pretty average draw speed, everything else is dedicated to drawing quickly. Tack laser, stippled grip tape, FSS tack wrap. With those 5 attachments, it draws fast enough, and you also get as far of a damage range as you can possibly get. I love using the FAMAS, and I think it's amazing on smaller maps. Ramaza, Gunrunner, maybe Hackney Yard, depending on where you position yourself. But if you're playing on a bigger map, do not use this gun. There are far better guns to use, because as soon as you need to do a 2 burst to kill people, the gun becomes far worse than if you're able to 1 burst people. Number 6, the FAL. This gun is actually really good, and it's also one of my favorite guns in the game. It's the only assault rifle that is completely semi-automatic, but the fire rate is extremely fast, and you're basically going to be able to fire as quickly as you can click. So if you've got a fast trigger finger, the FAL has a very fast time to kill, and it is laser accurate because it's semi-automatic. The reason this is ranked not higher is because number 1, it's by far the most difficult assault rifle to use, out of all assault rifles because it's semi-automatic. I actually tweeted my favorite Call of Duty YouTuber and streamer, Siritron. Highly recommend you check him out. I actually have him as one of my recommended channels on my YouTube channel. He's absolutely insane, really funny Australian, the mad marsupial, the aimbot from the Outback. And I asked him in this tweet, why am I doing so poorly with the FAL? And he made a really good point. It's because it is much harder to aim while clicking than it is to aim while holding down the mouse button. So that's an important consideration to keep in mind with the FAL. You're just not going to do as well unless you're very used to aiming while firing. But what's great about the FAL is the damage fall off is not super noticeable. So you can kill people really fast up close and quite far away as long as you're landing your shots. So the attachments we're running are monolithic suppressor, the longest barrel you can get. We've got no stock and stippled grip tape to really ramp up that draw speed. And then 30 round mags because honestly, I didn't see anything else that was really worth using. The recoil is very little with this gun, so I didn't feel like putting on any kind of recoil attachment made sense. However, if you didn't want to run 30 round mags, I would recommend either putting on a reflex sight or a holographic sight if you're trying to play this on a bigger map and make sure you're actually landing those shots when people get far away, or maybe a 1 milliwatt laser so that you have some better hip fire accuracy. So if you get surprised by someone with a Bison, you have a chance to just start spamming that left click hip fire and hope you get the kill before they do. So if you're really good with semi-automatic weapons, I would probably put this gun even higher on the list because it's super versatile if you got good aim while using that semi-auto. Next up, we have the Kilo. We're starting to get into the high tier of assault rifles. Every assault rifle we're going to talk about from here on out is an excellent gun, and it almost comes down to preference with the exception of the top two guns. The Kilo has good damage range, good fire rate, very little recoil, and it has access to some unique attachments that make it super versatile, and you can tailor it to whatever map or playstyle you have, and it's gonna do really well. The attachments I like to run: monolithic suppressor, prowler barrel, both of which just increase those damage ranges, stippled grip tape and no stock, increased draw speed, and then 60 round mags. You can absolutely get away with putting on the 100 round drum mags for this gun, and your draw speed is still gonna be relatively fast. And the benefit, of course, of having a 100 round mag is that you won't have to worry about reloading for quite a while. So you can run into a room and kill 5, 6, 7 people before you have to reload if your aim is on point. And importantly, with the 100 round mag, you reload super quickly. So it's not like reloading a PKM 100 round mag. It's really fast. You just take it off, put it back on, maybe 1.5 second reload. However, I like the 60 round mag because that's enough for me in most situations. And the draw speed is noticeably faster when you're running 60 versus 100 rounds. But this gun is awesome. It doesn't really have any weaknesses. It's just a well-rounded, good gun. Number 4 is the Oden. This is one of those niche guns that is either really good or really bad. And there are a couple reasons for that. It's a thick boy, and it's got a very slow draw speed and a very slow fire rate. So why is it ranked so high? The damage is nuts. The damage fall off is also nuts. This thing kills extremely quickly. 2 bullets and someone's dead if you're hitting upper chest or head. It's got an insane time to kill if you're landing shots. Aside from the draw speed and the low fire rate, it also has a very small magazine with only 20 bullets. Part of the reason for that is that you're not going to go through those bullets too quickly because it fires so slowly. But all of these glaring weaknesses are very much offset by how insane the damage profile is. And if you're landing shots, you'll kill people fast at any range. So when we look at the attachments, you'll notice I'm actually not running a barrel on this gun, and I run a barrel on most other guns. The reason for that is if I put on any kind of long barrel, it just draws too goddamn slowly. I can't do it. So what I do is I put on the monolithic suppressor to give me some more damage range, in addition to giving me the suppression effect that I love. And then I leave the barrel alone because I don't want to put on the short barrel because it gives it too much recoil for my liking. And I don't want to put on the long barrel because, again, it just draws way too slowly. So I leave that alone, and instead I put on tack laser, stippled grip tape, XL Elite comb for the increased draw speed, and then I put on 25 round mags because having 20 rounds is just too low for me. This is a gun that's going to do really well for you on a mid-range to long-range map because of the really high damage and really long damage range. You're gonna have a bad time if you use this on a small map. Do not use an Oden on shipment. Do not use an Oden on shoot house. The fire rate is too slow, and if someone is crowding you, if you miss one bullet, you're dead, because your next bullet isn't going to come out of the gun for 20 minutes. So this is a relatively niche assault rifle, but the reason it's ranked so high is because of its insane time to kill that is virtually impossible to compete with. So now we're getting into the top 3 assault rifles, and the thing that all 3 of these have in common is that they are incredibly well-rounded and they do everything well, which is why they're in the top 3 slot, because there isn't going to be a situation in which you are at a disadvantage. Someone's really close to you, you'll do fine with any of these 3 guns. Someone's really far away, you'll do fine. You're mid-range, you'll do fine. They're so well-rounded that these are just excellent choices to use on any map for any situation at any time. And number 3 of these is the AK-47. The AK-47 is really cool, and one of the reasons it's really good is because it has 2 conversion kits. So you can make this into an LMG like the RPK, and you can also make this into a submachine gun like the AK-74U. Now, in my opinion, most of these conversion attachments are not worth it, with one exception, the skeleton stock. As I said earlier about the M13, the skeleton stock is the best stock in the game because it increases your ADS speed and your ADS strafe speed. That's one of the reasons the AK-47 is so awesome, is that it has that attachment. So in addition to that, I'm running stippled grip tape, 40 round mag, monolithic suppressor, Spetsnaz Elite barrel. I've experimented a lot with different builds with the AK, and for example, there's like the LMG barrel that's really long, really high damage range, really good recoil control, but it just makes the gun draw too slowly, so I don't use it. The Spetsnaz Elite is like the assault rifle long barrel, and that's what I've gone with because it's a nice balance between keeping your draw speed serviceable and also giving you really good recoil control and really good damage range. And then I've got the monolithic suppressor, the 40 round mags, and then the stippled grip tape in addition to the stock to increase that draw speed. This gun kills quickly, it has relatively little recoil, it's got good damage range, it draws relatively quickly, it's a very well-rounded gun, in addition to having the best iron sights in the game. You might want to play around with the attachments because it has so many based on those 2 conversion kits that you have, but this is what I've found to be the best, most well-rounded assault rifle specific build that there is for the AK. Number 2, the Ram 7, the DLC weapon. It is awesome, fantastic, super well balanced, super high fire rate, good damage ranges, great handling, great draw speed, really well-rounded gun. There honestly isn't too much to say about it other than the fact that it's exceptional. It's a really good, just well-balanced assault rifle that's gonna kids up at any range. The attachments I'm running are the monolithic, long barrel, stippled grip tape, XRK, close quarters, and 45 round mags. It doesn't have a wide attachment selection like the AK does, but it doesn't really need it because the attachments that it does have are excellent. And this is what I found to be a perfect balance between keeping those damage ranges and keeping that high mobility. And then you slap on the 15 extra bullets so you can kill a couple more people before reloading. Perfect, awesome gun. And of course, unsurprisingly, the number 1 assault rifle in the game, after 3 nerfs, still standing tall above the rest, the M4A1. It has a ton of attachment variety. There are a lot of really viable builds you can get with this gun, but the reality is that the base stats are just so good and it's so well-rounded that it's really hard to go wrong with an attachment setup for the M4. Nonetheless, this is what I found to be the best combination for me. Monolithic suppressor, grenadier barrel, no stock, stippled grip tape, 60 round mags. Something that's popular with this gun and with a lot of guns is to run the 50 round mags. The draw speed is virtually not noticeable between 50 and 60 rounds. It's basically the same. So if you want to take the 50 round mag, you might as well take the 60 because between those 2, there's virtually no downside and the upside is 10 extra bullets in the mag. And then no stock I'm running for that insane movement speed and draw speed. And whatever you lose in recoil control, you more than make up for with the monolithic and from the grenadier barrel. It has a really long damage range. It has a very fast fire rate. With the right attachments, it has virtually no recoil. It has no weaknesses. And not only is it well balanced, but it's exceptional in almost all of these areas. It is far and away the best assault rifle in the game. And if you're really getting your ass, then this is an excellent gun to just have in your back pocket to when you want to sweat and start dunking on kids. That's my list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you have any other better builds, let me know. I'll have an Imgur link to all of these best class setups in the description, so check that out if you want to see what builds I'm using for each of these guns. If you hated this video, smash the thumbs down. If you liked it, a thumbs up would be great. Again, quick reminder, I do stream on Twitch. It would be an honor and a privilege to have you there. In addition to that, I make exclusively Call of Duty multiplayer focused content on this channel. I play on PC, but the advice is relevant for whatever platform you're on. So if that's your niche, like it is mine, consider subscribing, because I have a lot of information and knowledge that I would love to share with you, my esteemed viewer, on this subject. Thanks for watching, Young Kings, and as always, remember, stay humble. Oops.